How did you discover arm wrestling?
When I was a kid, we'd arm wrestle in the lunchroom in school and stuff. And my dad and two uncles used to arm wrestle in the bars. And a couple of my uncles had been to an arm wrestling tournament. And so they had done a little bit, and they kind of showed me what they knew. And my dad actually, we had a little school desk in the basement, and he put a rope and a pulley and some weights, and I'd sit there and just do this when I was in high school, and then beat everybody in high school. And then when I went to college, I'd arm wrestle in the bars for money, and did pretty well there. Maybe lost a couple of times, but not very often. Like, my friends would call me at 1 a.m. if somebody was arm wrestling in the bars for money, and I'd get up and go down and arm wrestle them.
So we just got bad news that we have to
take a detour.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
So you said your friends would call you in the middle of the night to come and arm wrestle, right?
Yeah, they'd call me at midnight and say, hey, there's a guy down here arm wrestling for money, and I'd jump up and get dressed and run down to the bar and take his money and go home and go back to bed. And then in December of 1998, I got on a very basic search engine because the internet was pretty new still, and found a tournament in Belle Fourche, South Dakota. And I went and arm wrestled super heavyweight because I was a big fat kid.
Mm-hmm. How big?
I think my first tournament I weighed 280 pounds.
280 pounds.
Yeah, still only 5'9", so I wasn't like 6'5" or nothing back then. Yep, I went and I won my weight class. And then a couple of months later, I went and there was wrist wrestling, which a lot of people might not even really know what that is, but that was still a thing. And I won at wrist wrestling. And then a couple of months after that, I went to a tournament in Nebraska, and there was arm wrestlers there, and I got my ass handed to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also where I first met Leonard Harkless. And he started showing me a few things, and that's pretty much when I fell in love with the sport, is when I met Leonard, and he started to teach me some basic technique. And actually, I was a top roller back then. And so yeah, that's how I got started.
You enjoyed arm wrestling. You were pretty good at the beginning. But when did you understand the intricacies of it? Because I think when people start, they think it's kind of easy. And then the more you go, you're like, oh, I have to train this. And the levels there's 1,000 steps in arm wrestling.
Yeah. So I had the benefit of being able to attend the World Championships in 2000. So just 2 years after starting. So I was in Romaniemi. Wow.
Romani.
No?
No?
Finland. Romaniemi. Oh, wow. I used to be able to say that. You're going to have to edit this out. Romaniemi, Finland, right up on the Arctic Circle for Worlds in 2000. Mm-hmm. And that really opened my eyes to what arm wrestling was in the rest of the world and just how good people really were.
Mm-hmm.
But it was probably 2005 when I really started to adjust how I arm wrestled. That's when I started to build a hook. Actually, I was taught to hook by a top roller, oddly enough. From there, started to understand a little bit more about training, but I don't really think I started to understand how to train for arm wrestling until probably 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay. How did you first get into reffing?
I was at a tournament in Douglas, Wyoming. I went 2 and out. Absolutely just arm wrestled like poop. Leonard Harkless was there and started me downsiding. And that's how I started, was with Leonard and as a downside. And the biggest thing it taught me at the time was how to learn how to relax in between matches. Because I'd have to like get myself composed so I could ref. And then I'd step out of reffing with 1 or 2 matches notice and have to learn how to get ready for a match.
Yeah.
That was hugely beneficial. Second was seeing everything so close. I learned a lot of the technique and skills and the fine skills of things a little bit faster, I think, because I was reffing so much.
Because you were looking at it, right?
Yeah, I was right there, watching everything.
What year was this?
That would have been probably 99 or 2000.
Okay. So like 2-3 years in when you start doing
A year or 2 in.
Year or 2 in.
Yep,
Okay.
and then like I said, I downsided. I don't think Leonard let me head ref a match for probably 3 years.
Okay.
It was a really slow process then. It was all You know, there weren't classes, there weren't things like that. So it was all doing it with people. And it was Leonard, Gary Waddles, Keith Michelle, and a gentleman by the name of Bob Koschel, who we've since lost. And they were all at the time WAF master referees. And that's who I learned from.
Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Yeah. Was there, because I know a lot of times there's benefits for refs, like you don't have to pay entrance fee, so you can.
It was awesome. It helped me travel. It helped me get to more tournaments outside of my region. Because a lot of times they could cover my flight, or if I could pay for my flight, they'd cover my room and my entry fee. So it made it affordable when at a time when I really didn't have any money to go and do things. Or I'd drive for 20 hours to go to a tournament, and then they'd give me a hotel room because I reffed and ref and compete. Yeah.
Tell us, what makes a good referee?
Obviously, you've got to have a really good understanding of the rules. You have to have an ability to see the entire table, the responsibilities that you have and the responsibilities of your downside ref. Because it's, as a head ref, you're in charge of the table, so you've got to be able to see everything. So you've got to learn to see all of the table all of the time. You need to build systems for yourself. It's like, I start a match, I work through a match the same way every time. I set a referee's grip the same way every time. I put on a strap the same way every time. But to me, the most important thing to be a really good referee, in my opinion, is you don't actually want to be a part of the match. You want to be invisible. You want to be the gray man. You want to be forgotten. You want people to talk about how amazing the match was and say, who is the referee? If that's the case, in my opinion, you've done your job perfect. You should be forgotten as a referee.
Look, do you need to be an arm wrestler to be a good referee, do you think?
No, I think it helps a lot if you have an arm wrestling background. But through reffing at the WAF level internationally several times, I've met a number of refs that have never really competed, that have just joined the sport as referees, and you can be a very good referee. I think it's harder. I think it takes longer, but it can absolutely be done.
Close to 30 years in arm wrestling, right?
Yeah, 27.
Has the things that you enjoy changed?
Yeah, I mean, some of it. So this will probably make a lot of people go, huh? I enjoy reffing less than I used to. I probably enjoy competing more. I like training more than I used to. I really like the process of training. And I probably enjoy the travel more because I've gotten to know so many more people around the world than I used to. So now when I travel, especially overseas for an event, or when like you and Tina are able to come here, it's just such an extension of, I don't know, family.
Look, you now have this reputation about bullying around some giant men. What's that all about?
I don't bully anybody. I just make people follow the rules. The first time it happened, Reves was in the strap with Lilletin, and the match was over and he jerked him. We can't do that. People can get hurt. So a lot going on. I tapped him on the shoulder to make sure he was paying attention and told him no. And that was fine. With the whole Levon thing, there was a lot of emotion on stage with a big match of his countrymen, and Levon lost his composure a little bit and tapped me on the shoulder. You know, you shouldn't really touch the ref ever. And my reaction was just to, tell him no and go back to his corner. And of course, Artem got that on video, which went everywhere. But yeah, I mean, I would just assume everybody just listen, and we don't have to do that.
So today you competed, you also refereed.
Yep.
Right. So you still enjoy both of these things?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I truly love competing more than reffing, but yeah, I still enjoy it.
What are your aspirations still? Because, like there's this thing where a lot of people will see you as a referee, they will only think about you as a referee.
Right.
So they will think like, if you beat someone, they're like, oh, you lost to someone, oh, you just beat up a referee.
Right.
But like, let's take Christo. Everyone just sees him as a referee, yet he's one of the best.
Absolutely. Yep.
You know.
Well, I mean, aspirations, you talk about if people you want to pull, I would love to have a match someday with Christo. I think it would be a really fun match to have. We pull similar styles, so I think it'd be a phenomenal war. Pretty much from when I came into the sport forever ago, the goal was a WAF title. It's still on the list. I mean, it's probably the top priority is to try to get a medal at WAF. But as the world changes with arm wrestling and as I continually get older, I wouldn't say that it's not still the goal, but I'm thinking about just taking more time and traveling where I want to travel and compete in tournaments or maybe get a super match and just have fun and see who I can beat. Like, I would love to come to Latvia and visit you, and if there's a tournament at that time, pull in the tournament and see how it goes, or whatever, and do those types of things and just get as much arm wrestling in as I can while I'm still at a pretty highly competitive level. And otherwise in the US, there's some rankings that I don't know that are all that great. In my opinion, they're too opinion based and not enough based on who beats who, but it's what's there. And I'd like to climb towards the top of that on the 187 class in the US and see some of those top names and hunt them down in tournaments or in a super match somewhere and see where I stack up. I think there's a few guys out there that are on that list pretty high to the top that I match up really well with, and I'd like to find out.
Looking at guys like Todd Hutchings, and you said this to me in a car. You said you still feel like you're getting better.
Yeah, I do. I think my table IQ gets better. I'm still getting stronger. I mean, I track all my workouts, so I know if I'm stronger than I was a year ago, and I am.
Yeah.
So as long as I can keep progressing and stay competitive at the level that I want to be competitive, I don't know why I would quit.
There's no quitting in arm wrestling.
I don't think so. Yeah, there's no quitting in arm wrestling. Yeah.
What is your just number one advice for the fans?
For the fans.
For the fans.
Ooh.
Because I think they look at you as a referee.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna probably know you from. People are always very easily to blame the ref for everything.
Well, it's always our fault.
It's always your fault. Yeah.
Good. That's a great question. Number one advice to fans. So you mean
People
fans that
watching
aren't arm wrestlers?
Yes.
So it would be to spend some time on YouTube and other areas learning about some of the arm wrestlers that aren't just the very top names like Devin, Levon, Todd. Learn some of the other names that are just a little bit further down the list, because there's just exceptional arm wrestlers out there, and the more they learn about the community, I think they're going to enjoy the sport even more and understand it even more. So I guess it would be to branch out in who you watch on YouTube, and whether you know them or not, good arm wrestling is good arm wrestling, and it'll expand your vision of what our community really is. And the more you understand the family that we are as arm wrestlers, the better people love it.